And we're back.
We're back with the author of Trust Agents and also the author of The Impact Equation. Chris, did you make any money out of either of those books?
Not a lot. I mean, even when one's a New York Times bestseller, Julian and I split the money on it, and I should change my tune on that a little bit. So it came out in 2009. The money we made directly from the sale of the book, you can't quit your day job. It's maybe, I think we split about $33,000 each since 2009. So keep saying in your head, 4 years. That's not $32,000 dollars isn't much. The money that I made off the speeches I gave from it kept my family fed and the roof over the head and several employees happy for a little while. So that's, undeniable. And then the impact equation, we got a very good advance on the book. We convinced a publisher to shell a lot of money out ahead of time, but we never made a great deal of money on that book besides the advance, which soured us to any future publishing deals except for my foolish friend Matt, who is going to publish another one of my books in the spring.
Yeah, I had been curious about that because I had a sense that you had kind of become dis-enamoured with some aspect of being published by other people, and I thought you might be going down the Seth Godin road.
So Seth, we have different reasons why we like that, but mine is surely not the money, although you do make more money when you self-publish just by nature of the beast. But it's because most mainstream publishing, the marketing just isn't there, and people don't market in a way that matches the new systems of the world. So I can say, some examples are they're trying harder to get you onto mainstream media that would never want to buy the book. And we have better ways to get places than that via, digital channels. So Seth's opinion, I believe, is a little bit more that you can be a lot more artisanal. You can choose yourself. You can build what you want to build. And it just seems in a world with Amazon where you can make anything happen, what are you getting? Now, the reason I went with the mainstream publisher for my next book is really mostly because my friend Matt's the publisher. He works for Wiley, and it's a big company, and I just like working with Matt. But I had no particular need. I could have done the same work and had my friend Josh make a pretty cover, and we'd be done. I'd push publish on Amazon, and I'd start making money the same day.
And Chris, I won't tell anyone what you say on this. This is just between you and me. But what's the name of the new book?
Oh, I will tell you. It's called "The Freaks Shall Inherit the Earth," and I don't remember the real subtitle, but what it's really about is sort of entrepreneurship for weirdos. Those of us who didn't exactly fit in, we were the square peg in the round hole. This kind of book is written for my children in a way because neither one of them will ever survive a cubicle job. So I had to make some kind of a system that would help them grow and learn and do better.
Well, of course, I wish you all the best, but when will I be able to get my personal signed copy?
That should be available in March, and I say should because I've been a very naughty writer. I should have finished my side of the job the end of October 2013, and I'm not yet done as the time of this recording. So if I can go a little faster, life will be a lot better.
Okay, I'll speak a bit faster then, Chris. I'll try to get the questions over faster. So, no, on a more serious note, going backwards, if you like, you set up a company called HumanBusinessWorks, and the other person in your company who has a public profile and who I've had exchanges with on email and Twitter and stuff like that is Rob Hatch. And one of the things about the name of your company that you might not be aware of is that the HumanBusinessWorks, the use of the word human, has been extensively discussed by Jonathan Am and myself. And when we set up ChangeAgents, I guess we should publicly acknowledge the debt we owe to you, because or else the distraction we owe to you, because we have spent endless amount of time discussing the meaning of the word human and the traction that the word human has. And so I want to ask you a complicated question, Chris, is that you know more about HumanBusinessWorks from the inside than anybody else. And I know more about ChangeAgents Branding, more meaningful marketing. That's what we do, more meaningful marketing. I know more about that from the inside out. So I want to give you the first go at this one. I want you to tell me, what impression have you picked up already of ChangeAgents Branding?
The most solid impression I have is that you will be thorough in your efforts, and that you have a very, in my mind's eye, you approach everything from the angles, and which angles, what makes something make sense. And that's probably the first impression I have, is that your effort is to make it much more impactful than making the logo more blue, or, let's lowercase this font. You are working really hard to say, this has to be something you're willing to tattoo into your soul. And that, to me, is what I perceive on the outside as ChangeAgents Branding.
So you've picked up that impression from, have you ever looked at our website?
Yeah, sure. Right. I'm trying to think when I last did, but it was when I saw on Instagram that you were kind of refreshing it a little bit, I think, is when I saw it last.
Yeah, actually, if I did write refreshing, I was misleading people, because actually we were rebirthing it, really, because when we started ChangeAgents, we began by, look, we have we must put a website up, but we're not going to put a holding page up that says coming shortly, so we put up a blog. Then for various reasons, a little bit after that, I got unwell. I got a heavy bout of depression, and I knocked me out from kind of January till September, and then I came back and I started kicking some ass. And next thing is the website went up. No, I teased. The others will forgive me for saying that, but yeah. So look. This human thing, Chris. This human thing. Look, I want to know the story behind HumanBusinessWorks, but particularly the story behind the use of the word human.
It was a horrible idea for a company name. No one ever remembers it. It's too long, and it's poorly decided. But my reason for putting up that particular flag was to say it was a direct response to everybody trying so hard to automate and machinize all of their interactions in business. And around the time that I launched the company was the first early years of social media's latest phase and flavor. And people were calling me all the time saying, I just really need to know what I need to do on the web. And big companies, like I had said before, Coca-Cola, etc. And I would say, well, it's the best opportunity you have to get very personal with, very specific people. And it's a really great, and they're like, I love all that. How do we automate that?
I love it.
I would freeze.
How do we build it into our CRM system?
Exactly. And it was misery. And so I am in the spot of the guy who has to say, listen, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that you have to be loving and touch every little thing, and it's handmade, and that's why these tools are great. And they'd say, great, but I don't want to hire 1,000 employees. And I'd say, I do it with 3 employees. You can do it. And so that's why we named it that. And why human? Because I would say that the reason it had to be the first word was to say that technology will come, technology will go. It'll always be something we need. That's what separates us from animals most times, is that we use tools. But even that doesn't separate us anymore, because crows and monkeys use tools all the time. So what makes us human, are some of the choices we make and how we fill our day with silliness. So I need that to be part of the relationship. I need that to make more meaningful experiences happen. And so everything from making human and kind lip balm to making human business happen, it's important.
Someday, Chris Brogan, I'll deconstruct that last paragraph in public. but I'm going to skip over it, right? Because we both know how many different businesses' names you've dropped in that last little fragment, including the company that's behind me, Human+Kind.
Oh, there's their logo. I didn't even notice.
This is their packaging, Chris.
I see it, yes.
Actually, here, on a smaller scale, here is their packaging, right?
Beautiful.
Well, across the table from me here is the man who brought this packaging about in collaboration with Justin Plunkett, who is currently in Cape Town, who is our head of design. And this company went from a white plastic tube with material in it put together by a Dutch boffin, and it's now a global distribution. I daren't say how many companies we have. 10 companies in 10 countries. So, and they're just moving out of this building, starting to employ a lot more people. So ChangeAgents Branding have taken, this company. I mean, we can't take all the credit, let's be fair. Somebody had to decide what would go in the plastic tubing. But basically, we've helped build a global company.
Well, because you filled a family remedy cream and some anti-aging cream and some balms and things. I mean, you've taken them all and given them a beautiful look, a unified look. It's great. I mean, the body oil alone, who wouldn't say yes to that? So great work, ChangeAgents Branding.
Chris Brogan, you're such a smart bastard. You have clearly done your research.
I've never been to your website before. What do you mean? Aha.
I have a question in my mind, which is on the mind of everybody listening to this or watching this. And you've dropped names into the conversation, like Coca-Cola, like Microsoft, like Henry Ford, like really big people. Thank goodness you have, because that gives you some credibility. It's no point in telling me you've worked for Joe's Bakery in Boston. But indeed, there is. But what I want to know is, look, how do most normal humans who want to get HumanBusinessWorks, to want to get some help from HumanBusinessWorks, and I've got a budget, got some class of a budget, but it's not in the Pepsi and Ford class. How do they get working with HumanBusinessWorks?
So I changed my entire business around for that reason, and for the reason that those really large companies are lovely, but it takes them a long time to make up their mind. So one rather large company took 11 months to decide on something that I sent them, and I thought, that's it. I will be dead before they choose. So I retooled my entire business to provide courses and media to help people do it for themselves. So it's a little sad insofar as, you don't come to the restaurant to get a recipe, but at the same time, it's a lot easier because you can make it at home, you can save a few quid and call it a day. So, or euros now, and call it a few days. But, it's all good. But I mean, the people who now take those courses are my friend Ferg from Molson Coors, which is a large spirits company. There's people from American Express in the classes, people from another big bank. So there's been a lot of experience where I was starting not to be interested in consulting, people are buying the packaged version of my consulting. And at the same time that those big names show up, I am also getting the person who borrowed the money from their mom so that they can do the work. And a wonderful 76-year-old man who's closing down or selling his art gallery and wanted to figure out what he wanted to be when he grew up. So I'm in the catbird seat now because, although I don't get to work in that middle ground with nice folks like another friend or Spaceworks or something, I do get the opportunity to work with smart individuals that are fun.
And I tell you what, that Mike Collins from Your Irish Heritage, out in Ballincollig in Cork the other night, said to me that he came up to me and said, I got to thank you. He said, I got to thank you because you put me in touch with Chris Brogan. And as a result of me getting in touch with Chris Brogan, I went on one of his courses. And as a result of going on one of his courses, and as a result of this, I've set up yourIrishHeritage.com, which has taken off like the Clute Train Manifesto took off. And, a few people here in Ireland have been on your courses, Chris.
Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. And that's the best part of it to me, is just that anyone can take them in their time frame and in their space. And I really enjoy that experience a lot more, because I think what people misunderstand, and we all agree that being in person is the best of all lives, but we can't always do it just like now. So that opportunity for people to have a chance to do something and, connect, where the real opportunities happen, Maybe it's the opposite of where the gap begins, it's where the gap closes.
Okay, look, before this we came online, I had no script at all. I've got no script, but I have to, I got questions that have been put to me by people to ask you. So this one comes from Lisa, right? Lisa works for Human+Kind, actually. And she said she wanted me to ask you, if you didn't end up doing this, what would you have been?
Oh, what a great question. Probably a professional criminal.
Okay, that's good. That's enough. And now the next question also comes from Lisa. She says, if you could be anything in the whole wide world, what would that be?
Me. I love being me. Or Batman.
But not Robin.
Oh, never Robin. Oh, poor gent. Who gave him that costume and said that would be okay?
Okay. The next one is comes in from a South African guy who and he wants to know when are you coming to Ireland?
I've been 3 times, but only really to the airport. I've come and landed there a bunch of times, Shannon and Dublin both, on the way to other places. But I really do need to stay. One of my favorite quick stories about that is that I flew Aer Lingus, of course, and the plane, I was flying to Amsterdam, and the plane was delayed in Dublin a little bit. And it was because in Amsterdam, a jet had crashed. And I think everyone was okay, but this jet crashed. And so, when that happens, they have to take a look around and figure what's what, as one would guess. Aer Lingus says, we're so sorry for the delay. Here's some tickets. Maybe you can go get yourself a pint or something like that while you wait. And I thought, I've been on thousands of airline delays. No one's ever given me something for it, least of all tickets to go get a pint of Guinness in the airport. So that was probably one of the best days of my life, I have to say. But I will come to Ireland. There's more of a possibility of it now in 2014 and 15 than there was the last 2 years because of another project that I'm working on. But that's all I can say about that for now.
Okay, but when you come to Ireland for that project, you're working on a project with me too.
Sure, fair play.
Okay, I want you to do something very quickly, Chris, before we finish. And I know I'm overrunning the time here, but you once did a wonderful review of a book while driving a car. So I want you to be comfortable now, because I want you to review 10 books in about 20 seconds, right?
Okay, go.
So you're only allowed to give thumbs up. Actually, if you've never heard of the book, right? You're also to convey that to people. You're to own up that you haven't got a clue, right?
Great.
Are you ready?
Go. No idea. I'm sure it's great though. Nice title. Well, finest written work ever. I'm a big fan of the S's. Oh my gosh, a classic. I have never seen that version of the cover. Great work, very gritty, useful for the rest of our lives. What are you, like sitting in a library? No idea. What an interesting title. Looks like something someone would have mailed me and I would have forgot to read by mistake. Oh, anything Stephen Fry writes. I have not actually read that, but anything he's written. Fine gentleman.
Just 4 more, Chris.
I'm ready. That is true. Not only am I, but so are you. I never read it. The title seemed like it made sense to me. That's rubbish. In that version, there's most of the typos are fixed. Oh, swell book. Clearly a Paul kind of book. It can go in a circle. Not sure. Is that? Oh, yeah. I was sent that book. Did not read it. I'm sure it was great. Oh, I think that's a swell book. I think I've read that book. I might actually have it on my Kindle. Oh, well, that's a great book. There's a whole series of those, and I don't think that one's the best one. It's the Red Fairy. I can't remember her name. Anything Tom Peters wrote. Had the really great pleasure of spending time with him. That book changed my life. I used to get in so much trouble. Oh, a classic. I don't, it's not a religion to me like other people, but yes.
2 more. That's all. I promise.
Oh, that's a great book. That's a really good one. It's one of those ones that could have been 100 pages thinner, but fine book.
Okay, now, Chris, I think this is one you haven't read, but is an absolutely essential read before you come to Ireland.
Okay. Oh,
can you read the title, please? Read the title.
Well, I don't know if it's GAA Economics, The Secret Life of Money in the GAA. But is this I'm to guess a book that talks about just how miserable it has been since Ireland and several other countries had to become part of the financial Eurozone, or what?
No, the GAA, you know what, your relative Brogan plays for Dublin and is very famous as a footballer. The GAA is Gaelic Athletic Association, Hurling and Football.
Hurling, okay.
Yeah, we're actually...
Rob Hatch does hurling,
Pardon?
Rob Hatch plays for a hurling team, so...
Well, you're both playing for the Exiles when you come to Ireland.
I'm in.
And AJ Lane is also on your side. And we're organising an Irish GAA tribe to play against you.
Perfect.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be defeated soundly on some other soil.
Hey, Chris, we've come towards the end, and I want to ask you one last question.
Please.
And it's this: if I had asked you the toughest question that any interviewer has ever asked you in your life, that would have scared the bejesus out of you, but you would have had to answer, what would that question have been?
It's not at all that I'm fearless. I am in no way fearless, but I'm very willing to answer any question. I have some sort of filter problem. So I don't have a good answer to that, because people have asked me very tough questions that I don't expect that I really wanted to answer. But it's I have no challenge with answering things.
Okay, Chris, I want you to do something for me now. I want you to take away something to do. I want you to give Jacqueline a huge hug from me.
That I can do.
I want you to do that, right? And I want you to give her my personal congratulations on her recent achievement, which I followed on Instagram, as you know.
Sure.
Every step of the way.
It's quite astounding, really, to imagine what one can do when they're working on their self for a particular challenge. And I was in a room with hundreds of those people that looked in similar styles to her, and it was just amazing to see that much determination, especially as our entire planet, and most certainly the US, it just gets rounder and rounder and rounder. To see people working so diligently to achieve a certain goal or an aesthetic, it was very fun. So thank you.
And the last thing is, I'd like you to give Jonathan Am and myself. We set up ChangeAgents Branding, and we want it to be successful, whatever that means. But I want you to give us a bit of free advice on air, please. You know a good deal about what we're doing, but give us a bit of advice, please.
Well, so I think that the challenge with any branding is that people have to understand, if they're going to spend the money on it, what's the return going to be and all that. And so when you're showing,
Oh,
difference between making meaningful branding happen. That's the real hinge. To me, it's the meaningful part that people need to understand, because they need to understand that's what's going to lead them to the revenue. And so, to me, one of the things I noted about your site was that, first off, you do what all agencies do, which is show off all your folks, which is great. But I love that there's an Instagram area, and I love that there's other kinds of content to be consumed. What you are missing, besides the little sign up and get my newsletter, is in the very top of the fold area, the most important part of any website. There isn't exactly anything to lure me to take an action in the very top part of the site. So what I would do a little different is I'd make some kind of a change that would allow me to get in contact with you. And if that's not just a newsletter request, then that's easy. But make sure that people know. If I stood 25 feet away from this site right now, all the way across the room, I would have no clue what you really wanted me to do besides watch the slideshow. What you really want is some kind of single action that you really want me to take to make something next happen.
And you haven't charged me any money for that advice?
Not that you're aware of just yet. Keep your eyes on your payment.
Chris Brogan, we've done what we wanted to do, I think. What we really wanted to do was not to finish this conversation, not to finish this interview, but to set up a platform from which we can grow your profile in Ireland, where we can make you irresistible to Irish people. That is, I think, what we've achieved. Others will judge, but...
Oh my gosh. Well, Paul, I'm loath to carry this on even further, but let me ask you, what defines the qualities, not of me, but what defines the qualities of one who would be irresistible to the Irish?
That's very easy, Chris. It's actually quite different from the English and the others, but I mean, the first thing is it has to be easy to place you. It has to be possible to work out who your people were and who do I know that you know. So I get that, first of all. You won't be irresistible unless you reveal to Irish people who your family is and where you came from. That's the very bottom. That's like the bottom of Maslow almost. That's the foundation, right? And that's more than being a nice guy, because it's no good just. So the next thing is, after that, you have to find, people have to be safe. The Irish are very suspicious,
Yes.
They act as if they're hail fellow, well met, but the bottom line is, after the drink has worn off, they mightn't even know you the next day. So the second thing is, you actually have to give them something that they'll be able to remember and they'll like, really, a lot. And I suppose the third thing is, a bit like everybody else, you actually have to do something for them without expecting to get anything in return. The Irish are big into evening up the score. They can't stand it if they owe somebody something. So if you do something for them, they'll go and move everything to pay you back.
Quite interesting. Now listen, audience, because you said there's 3,000 people there. Did you excuse me, do I get any points for actually being a fan of Mick Mulcahy's Corked Big Breakfast and the Wind-Ups? Any?
You do. You get a huge amount. In fact, you get more brownie points than you realize, because I haven't a clue who you're talking about.
Get out of Dodge, Paul. It is the funniest. He's this radio disc jockey, and he calls people up and winds them up on behalf of other people. So someone will be really proud of his brand new car, and the girlfriend will call Mick Mulcahy and say, "Can you call and pretend you destroyed the car?" And he'll put on a fake voice or something and just get somebody just wound and angry and frustrated, and it's great fun. And he's been doing it since maybe early 2000, and maybe even more than that. And the fact that all of Cork somehow still doesn't catch on that this one guy is doing this all the time for more than a decade makes it even better for me.
Well, I give you one small tip, and this is the very last, because I have to go now, Chris. I have to let you go, right? but
Sure.
you've got to call him Mick Mulcahy.
Oh, but that's not how he pronounces it. I think he's a Dubliner who's moved to Cork or something. He
Oh,
says
really?
Mulcahy.
Oh, well, then I take it back. I take it back.
I don't know.
I thought that
me.
was real American, but okay, I take that back.
That's how I always heard it on. He sells CDs of the shows, and so that's how he always said his name. That I heard.
Look,
maybe perhaps I have bent Irish here. So.
Chris, I want you to do one thing. That I want him to get out of his seat here. I introduced you to Jonathan about 5 years ago when we started this conversation, and he's kept out of the way. But I want you to say goodbye to Jonathan and I'll see you soon anyway.
Well, Jonathan, I say that perhaps maybe better is drop me a quick email and tell me what I should or shouldn't know about visiting Cape Town, for instance. I mean, all I have to go on is what I learned in District 9, which was Joburg. So I don't know anything, is what I'm saying. Oh, and the band dis-enamoured is one of my favorite bands.
Okay,
so that's what I know of South Africa, right?
Okay. Oh, that's cool. We've got some great friends down there, Justin in particular. So we'll hook you up.
I love that answer. Excellent. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Chris Brogan.
Take care.
You're a great owner. You're a great owner.
As are you both. Bye now.
Take care.